Hey everybody, welcome to Top Comics to Pre-Order in a Flash. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our real quick show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend. Your pre-orders are due Sunday around 6 o'clock, so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness, and there is some real good stuff this week.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Starting with Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds #1. This is the first comics appearance of Kahhori, who is the original character that appeared in season 2. I don't remember which episode it was, but season 2 of the What If Disney Plus series. She is now entering the 616 universe. And this is going to be an anthology book featuring exciting guest stars and the comics debut of some extraordinary comics creators as well. So not only is it going to be her first appearance in comics, but a bunch of different writers and artists and things like that.
Next up, we have Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees #1. This is just a one shot, but teaming up Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy. And this is going to be really cool because there's something in the green, the very essence of plant life and all of that, that is feral. It's clawing its way to the surface and it's calling out for blood. So the Parliament of Trees calls upon Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy to come together and investigate what this is. And it says the investigation will lead to a trail of carnage caused by this entity all the way to the heart of this homicidal wilderness. So it sounds really cool. And this seems like, this should have almost been a mini series because it just seems like such a smart idea.
Yeah. Next up is It Happened on Hyde Street, Devour. And this is a one-shot that is actually set in the Hyde Street universe. Hyde Street #1 came out today. It's fantastic. It's about a woman named Lily. She is struggling to lose some weight before her wedding. She's trying to fit in her wedding dress. And her grandmother tells her about this miracle supplement called Devour that says will help her lose that weight. But this supplement is peddled by a mysterious health guru named Miss Goodbody, and that's one of the names we saw on the Souls scoreboard at the end of Hyde Street #1. So this is going to introduce us to another one of our Hyde Street characters. And then it just says, is taking Devour worth the cost? And it sounds like the cost might be pretty high.
It's not.
Oh.
I can just report it's not.
Okay.
Next up, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Naruto #1. This is going to be a new mini series. This sounds really interesting. So, April, the reporter, has a clandestine meeting with the leader of the Hidden Leaf Village, which is where Naruto is from, and it gets the attention of Naruto and his friends and all of that. Now, what sounds interesting is I assume this would be a crossing of worlds, but it sounds like they all exist in the same world because the Foot Clan have their own interests in April's visit and her mutagen research being conducted by Baxter Stockman. And it says that the turtles will have to help protect her, and they are from the Big Apple Village. So it's almost like New York is going to be another one of the villages.
Okay.
You can tell with their style here a little bit. It seems like, this is a cool amalgamation of worlds.
Next up is Aliens vs. Avengers #2. We wanted to call this one out because the first one was a big hit. It's really good, but there was a pretty big gap between the release of the first one and then this one. So this one is on FOC this weekend. Don't miss it. And it just says that overwhelmed by the xenomorphs, the survivors abandoned their home planet. So many are dead or wounded, and a few of them have changed, and the Avengers must avenge them. And that's pretty much all we know for now.
Very cool. Next up, we have Negasonic Teenage Warhead #1. This is a one-shot that collects the webcomic Negasonic Teenage Warhead that's been going on for a little while. But in this, we have Ellie, who is Negasonic Teenage Warhead, is accused by the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, of a crime she hasn't committed yet. Now she has to go on the run to stop herself before the TVA does, and she's going to have help or hindrance from Deadpool along the way. This also will be the first comics appearance of Yuki Ohara, who is Negasonic Teenage Warhead's girlfriend, but in comics, if you may know her from the movie. Plus, this will have a new story that wasn't one of the digital first by the same creative team.
Next up is a new book from Dark Horse called Arcbound. This is written by Frank Thierry, Scott Snyder, and Tom Hardy. And this is set in a future where Earth has become a barren wasteland. And I feel like there was this company called Zenitech. They harness the unmatched energy of chromium to assert their dominion across the stars. And this is going to be about a rising star mediator who works for Zenitech. His name is Kai. He gets an unexplained message from a mysterious entity, and everything he thinks he believes is thrown into question, and it's going to cause him to go out and explore the galaxy, basically, and see what's out there.
Very cool. Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 61. We wanted to point this out because it's the beginning of kind of a new era for Spider-Man. If you've, weren't reading the previous one, this is going to be a new jumping on point. As this first little bit is going to be written by Joe Kelly and the art by Ed McGuinness. And now that Doctor Doom is the Sorcerer Supreme, he's outsourcing some of the jobs that the regular Sorcerer Supreme usually did themselves, and that includes every year an evil god and its scions would rise up, and they would have to put it down. Well, this time he's leaving that job to Spider-Man, who he gives a new magic suit and 8 lives. But will that even be enough? So the 8 deaths of Spider-Man, I think we're going to see him burn through all of those within this story. So it sounds really fun and a new jumping on point for Amazing Spider-Man.
And next up is Kid Maroon number 1. Now, Kid Maroon is a character who has existed since the 1940s in old comic strips. He's a boy detective who is just like a 12-year-old, like hard-boiled, grizzled detective. And his real name is Walden Maroon. A couple of years prior, he outgrew his small town and his loving parents and the low-stakes mysteries involving missing butterflies and stolen cookies. And he has since moved to the city known as Crimeville, where murders, vice, and corruption are the city's bread and butter. There's a string of horrific killings and arsons that spring up, and will he be able to crack the case with his quick wits and his slingshot? So this sounds really fun, a new take on an old character.
Next up, we have Batman, the Long Halloween, the Last Halloween, number 2. Number 1 it just came out. It was fantastic. So excited to be back in this world. This time, of course, still written by Jeff Loeb, but with art by Klaus Janson for this issue. And it just talks about that Batman and Robin have to descend into the hellish depths of Arkham Asylum, seeking answers and coming face to face with some of the city's most nefarious criminals. That's kind of the joy of how Long Halloween always is. It spotlights the criminals big time, and it sounds like this is going to be a really cool continuation. And that is it for Top Comics to pre-order in a flash. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to head over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can pre-order these books and you're guaranteed to get them when they are released. So many books now sell out, like we saw. Absolute Batman has already sold out at the distributor level, so hopefully everyone got their orders in. We got a lot of them, but that just shows you why it's so important to pre-order these books. And I'm sure some of these will act the same way, and you'll be happy that you did.
Yep.
So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.